they want to send promiscuous photos to their husband and kind of the lack of intimacy that you can have. But like at first, like when Joe like would be like, hey, do you want to send me like a picture like this? I'd be like, not really, because like I don't want like I don't want other people to see it.
Lifer wives, women that are dealing with long sentences. Some of us will never get the opportunity to leave a prison wife group.
I haven't even thought about that ever.
And one of the feedbacks was they like when we get spicy, Paige. So we're going to get spicy today. So let me tell you, all of the love that Michael got for his birthday was amazing. A lot of people commented on my Facebook or on my Instagram, and everybody was so sweet. So sweet. I don't know if you know this, but my mom and Michael share the same birthday. Like legit the same day. Yeah. So I spent yesterday with my mom, obviously, but because the weekend before I had spent the weekend with Michael, but it was just fun. And my mom, Michael told my mom happy birthday, and my mom wanted me to let him know that she had a great birthday yesterday because we celebrated it yesterday. So I just want to say thanks to everybody for all the love, because I got lots of love for Michael's birthday. So, and I'm sure I told him about it. So, and he says thank you guys too. So. Yeah. So what did you do this weekend?
I didn't realize that we both had Libra mothers.
I have Libra mother. I have a Libra grandmother. I have a lot of Libras in my life. Clearly, me and Libras we vibe. So.
Yeah. What did I do this weekend? Nothing. I went to my son's soccer game yesterday, which he scored 5 goals. He's killing it.
With his green hair. I love the Hulk hair. That was great.
Yeah, he wanted green hair because of the Eagles. So we did that. He got his green hair, and I told him I think that's why he did well.
Okay. Got a little mojo there.
Exactly. Oh God, I hope I don't lose internet.
What happened?
I just got a text. Hopefully I don't. It says, we identified an issue with your network. We're actively working to fix it by 4:15, which is in 2 hours. And I'm still connected right now, so.
Fingers and toes crossed.
Yeah, please.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get this thing started then, in case it does go out. All right, guys, welcome to Love with the Malls, a prison wife podcast. It's your friendly host, Gigi here, and I'm here with the ever so lovely and beautiful...
Your friendly host, Paige. Hello.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back for another installment. We are now on episode 31. We're well into our dirty 30s here. Thank you for coming along the ride with us. We love you guys. We loved all the feedback we got last week. So, and one of the feedbacks was they like when we get spicy, Paige. So we're going to get spicy today. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get spicy, of course, we got to give a shout out to our wonderful, amazing sponsor, our peeps on the Patreons. You guys are amazing, and you have helped us, along this way. And we hope that we've helped you with some amazing things that we won't talk about here because it's only talked about on Patreon because it's sexy. But we want to give a shout out to our OG Wallers on Patreon who support us and love us. And look for your name in the credits at the end because Paige did a fantabulous job putting together our little credits to you guys. So thanks to y'all for sponsoring this episode of Love with the Malls. All right, Paige, you ready to dive right in?
I'm ready.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm going to get it. All right. What up with that legislation? Paige, do you want to get us started with that?
I can't lie, guys. I'm not mentally here, and I didn't even look anything up beforehand. So.
Okay. No worries. I had something, and I thought I sent it to you. Oh, here it is. All right, guys. I have something from the ACLU. This now, as I start talking, the Nebraska Supreme Court. This was on Thursday. The Nebraska Supreme Court ruled that in ACLU's favor, it says, allowing people in Nebraska who have completed their felony sentences to vote. And this is going to restore voting rights to over 7,000 formerly incarcerated people. So, good job, Nebraska Supreme Court for, putting it out there that it's, you shouldn't lose your right to vote just because you've been incarcerated or on paper or whatever the stigma is with voting. And I think if we know anything, like these people have paid their debt to society, therefore if as a returning citizen, they should be allowed to have these rights. So good job, Nebraska, for restoring voting rights for those that have served time with felonies. Thank you so much. Good job. Oh. All right. I did have something else. I think I sent it to you, Paige. It was that story on Twitter about the warden or some type of administrative person that got in trouble. Here it is. Okay. All right. So we have also from the Marshall Project, an amazing publication for criminal justice reform for people that need resources dealing with incarceration. There was a warden who ran federal prisons that had very abusive practices in the BOP, and now he's been rewarded because now he's directing the National Training Center. So his name is Andrew Cioli, who was in charge of the penitentiary at Thompson in Illinois for 1 year. And now he's leading a high-profile prison life or prison job life in Florence, Colorado. And he is the director of the Bureau's Management and Specialty Training Center, which provides leadership training and specialized instruction across the BOP agencies. So it's okay for you as a warden to abuse people incarcerated and have bad practices. And hey, guess what, guys? You get rewarded with an even better job.
Yeah, I don't know. I read some of that, and it said that was like the first time that they've ever like did investigation and found that they moved the person to like a different position where they still had control over many people. And I'm like, I just don't understand how like these oversight things can happen, because like there's no way other people didn't know about that.
Yeah. And I'm thinking like, they have a case in Texas about this preschool who's giving sleepy patches to kids with melatonin, and these teachers are losing their jobs. Now, granted, what they did was wrong. I'm not saying what they did was right, but I'm just showing you like in other jobs, if you do something wrong to the point where it brings national attention, you lose your job. Like, whereas in the BOP, in Louisiana Department of Corrections, you do something wrong, you just get moved, but you still have a leadership position, which is crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
nowhere else, but
only in the BOP or the DOC or the CDC or wherever your loved one may be. Mm-hmm. It's very corrupt, y'all. Obviously, very much abuses of power here, but it's rewarded. It's okay. Not okay. Anyway. All right. Well, we actually have this time a mean tweet or a mean comment of the week. So I'm going to let Paige share that. Here we go. Tweet. All right, Paige, what we got?
It might take me a minute to get to it, but we had a few of our tweets, not our tweets, a few of our our short videos we made from our podcast last time. We posted them on TikTok, and we got some good reception from you guys. And then it also kind of made it to a whole nother branch of TikTok, which also is like the fun side where, you know, they want to criticize us. So we did get a mix of a few different comments back from people. Some nice, some bad. There was a few ladies who, you know, very clearly have had like bad experiences with people incarcerated that you can just tell. So they obviously have a bias towards relationships like this. And, you know, it obviously was bad enough that they, you know, when they see these things that they would want to comment on it. And, you know, initially my first reaction is to be like, all right, get your negativity out of here. But in a breath, I understand that, you know, maybe they're trying to say something that maybe they think we haven't all heard before, but come on, we have.
Yeah.
A lot of the comments, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the exact one, but like we had a few ladies that went through and they commented on every single, all three of the shorts that we made, saying things like, you know, no, you don't know your men. I promise. Just wait till they come home and you'll find that out. And another one was about how, well, you know, actually prison wives do break the laws, blah, blah, blah. All, you know, just pretty much people saying, well, these myths are true. So, but I think that's also something that we kind of could have expected when we pulled this.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm all here for the engagement and debate and talk over those things because I can prove and tell you that that's not how it is for me. So I'm like, okay, if that's how it was for you, like, let's talk about it. It doesn't have to be like a debate or a argument. Like I'll tell you how it is for me, and you, if you want, you can share your experience with me. You don't have to, I don't have to take your experience and put it on my back and live with that and be like, well, that's probably going to happen to me, because no relationship is the same. So I don't have specific tweets, but to all of the people that wanted to go out onto our TikTok and leave those comments, I honestly, if anything, I just hope that, you know, I'm sorry that you obviously lived through some traumatic experiences. There are bad people in prison, just like there's bad people out here. So like I am not saying that your lived experience isn't the truth, but you know, every person who's incarcerated is different, and that's just something everyone should remember.
Yeah. And just like, you know, the generalizations of, you know, people being bad in prison, you know, just remember that they obviously, the stereotypes and all that come from somewhere, but that doesn't mean everybody in prison is having a bad experience, but because a few have, or some have. I mean, I feel bad that that happened to them, and I'm sorry that that was your journey and that was your experience. I hope that, you know, better things come for you, but, you know, don't shit on us because your relationship didn't end the way you wanted to do. I mean, I'm gonna fucking say it. You know me. I'm gonna say it out loud. Like, you know, I don't sit here and shit on people's relationships that are terrible out here. You know, so, you know, I understand that you had a bad experience maybe, and you say, well, just wait. I know we got a tweet even. Somebody even tweeted like,
Did that was
wait
my
till you. Go
that
ahead.
was that's what we probably should have used for our hateful thing. I had a friend of mine who sent me a tweet that a girl made about our video without like tagging the video at all. Like she basically was like, I saw a TikTok that said prison wives know their partners more than us, and I just want to say no, you don't, blah blah blah, and all that, blah, blah blah. And it's like, okay, like at first when I saw that and it was sent to me, I looked at it and I was like, I want to reply and fight, because that's my initial response. And I'm like, because I'm also like protective of it, because I'm like, okay, because in my eyes, like you're essentially being a bully as bad as the people that have created these myths and these concepts. But I, like, you know, step back. Obviously, you have a lived experience that makes you feel that way. Nothing I'm going to say is going to change how you feel, just how, like, nothing you say is going to change how I feel. And it is what it is. And, you know, you're allowed to comment on that because we're putting our stuff out there, and that's what you're allowed to do. But you don't have to, you know, be so, like, negative with it. You know what I mean? Like, be
Yeah.
so, like, pulling other people down. It's gross.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, like, you know, there are people that came home and have fantastic relationships even after incarceration. And so, don't take that away from them. I mean, it's not all, you know? So I'm not, like I said, I'm sorry you had that experience, and I just want to say, thank you for I mean, if you want to hate on us, thank you. That makes it better for us because we get more views. We,
No,
like I'm
fine.
not
It's a
like
video.
when you
It's a
sent it to me, I
video.
was like, oh, oh, that's cute. Thank you for the shout out, honeys.
I'm like, okay, well, I mean, it's just funny because it's like people like that. It's like she easily could have commented that on the video if she felt that strongly, but I don't think that she ever really had the intention of either of us seeing it. But when you post things online, it's there forever and it's there
It
for
does.
people. So, and if people know that I made a video like that and they see something like that, they're gonna show me.
Yeah.
So, it
Yeah.
is what it is.
Y'all, I mean, prison wives are pretty good about following and sharing and doing stuff like, oh, this is like, I saw
We
this,
are
you know?
low key. We are low key the FBI when it comes to this shit. Like we live, like we don't have, like we have things to do, but we also have a lot of time and we have
Yeah.
very good investigation skills. So just
We do a lot of research, y'all. Just saying.
we don't just say shit to say shit.
Yeah. We know shit. We know shit. Well, thank you for that person for giving us lots of help because we obviously might have started a little TikTok trend. I mean, maybe a mini one,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's the way she made it sound. I saw this trend on TikTok,
Which is,
whatever.
I was like, oh, trend. Oh, thank
Ooh,
you.
we're a trend. Thank you.
Trend, my favorite. Oh,
All right. Well, are we ready to dive into some hot topics,
yes.
spicy
Let's
topics?
do that. I'm so glad I've not lost internet yet.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, this is what we planned on doing. We came up with some things that you brought to us, and then also some stuff that we've seen over the years in prison wife groups. And I'm just going to start off by prefacing it with this. This is not a versus situation. This is a perspective. I like to call it a perspective situation. That
Like, hear me out.
Yeah. Yeah. Hear me out. Because these are things that come up in a lot of prison wife groups. And I think we don't talk about it. And I was telling Paige, I was like, this is something we need to talk about because,
Or when it's talked about, it's toxically talked about, or it's talked about out of emotion rather than like logic.
yes. All right. So can we go ahead and start with the big one?
Yes.
Okay. The big one that always comes up, any prison wife group that you're in, is MBI and MWI. And when we say those acronyms, that means met before incarceration versus those met while their person was incarcerated. So you're talking about women who knew the person before they went in and was out there in the free world with them versus women who meet their loved one while they are incarcerated via pen pal, friend, whatever. And the reason we talk about this is because I brought this to Paige and I was like, no one is better. Let's just say this. No one is better than the other. Okay?
No.
We're both in it. We're both loving someone incarcerated. And you hear a lot of crap on both sides. And I'm going to say this, and I know some people may not agree with this, but I think there is also a level of respect that we should give to MBI because I'm MWI, Paige is MWI. That they had to go through, and if you stayed with them this whole time, there's a level of respect that they deserve because you went through the pre-incarceration, the arrest, the court shit. I mean, you went through a lot myself, I didn't have to go through. And I can only imagine the stress of that, all the negativity of that on you and your family, having to deal with the press, having to deal with news media, if that's applicable. And I think there's a respect that's deserved there if you've stayed this whole time throughout the whole process, because that's a lot. That's a fucking lot. Let's be real. But I also think that you can't look down on people who choose to love someone incarcerated after they've been incarcerated, because you're choosing, I'm going to say it, and I would say this to anybody's face. This is nothing I wouldn't say. I'm just saying, you chose to stay. So why are you docking me for choosing to be with my husband? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. That's how I feel, Paige. I'm anxious. I'm interested to see your thoughts.
I think you kind of know how I feel. How I feel about it is pretty much the same way that you feel. I feel it's not like it's one versus the other. I think that we both are, we all have lived experiences, and I don't think anyone has the ability to take that away from other people. Like you said, the people who are MBI a lot of the time did go through all of those court cases and all of that. I can't imagine what that's like, and I also can't imagine the kind of closeness that brings you. But I think where it comes into being an issue is where one side, whether it's either side, tries to diminish the other side and make it so that, oh, well, we're better because we were with them before, or no, we're better because, we got with them when they were at their lowest point and we found them and loved them then and stood with them now. You know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. It's not anyone is better than the other. Everyone's love and relationship is valid, and I hate building it up against each other. Now, does that mean that anyone should, like an MWI should not respect an MBI if she's like talking about a certain struggle or something that happened that is something that you can't even relate to? Like, no, like that is different, and that is, we have lived experiences. So I'm trying to think of the right words to phrase this. I hate that it's even a thing where people feel like they have to be like one's better than the other, or one love is more justified than the other, because I think we all know that that's not true. And I think if anything, it's just another thing that's created to kind of divide this community and all we need is to kind of come together and work together,
Amen. And I'm going to add one more into the mix. I'm going to add the people that give people that are RWI, which is reconnected while incarcerated shit, because they're like, oh, well, you left when it got bad and now you're back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that, guys. I mean, we're already chopped up as it is by society and by others. Like, nobody is better. We're all on the journey together. Now, I do think that, like Paige said, there are some perspectives that are different. There are some things that are different about each category. But in the end, I mean, we all love our person. And I think that's what should be noted, not win. And bullying other women and saying negative things because they chose this life or because they chose to stay or, whatever, it's wrong. So if you're going to throw that out, it's just going to only hurt our community. It's going to divide it. Like Paige said, it's not going to bring us together. Mm-hmm. So that was one of the first ones. I also want to cover another topic. Are you ready, Paige? Long sentences versus those with short sentences, the women in prison wife communities. I'm going to start it off by saying that I was in a prison wife group that did something to celebrate the women who are, in this for a long time. Like, we're talking 20 plus years, life sentences, life without parole, death sentences, like that are doing this for the rest of their life almost, for a long chunk of time. And people with like 1 or 2 years got all of their panties in a twist because we weren't celebrating everyone. And listen, hear me out, guys. Hear me out. Everybody should be celebrated. You doing this is an amazing thing because not many women can do what we're doing right now. Let's be real. A lot of them are bouncing. A lot of them are like, I want to go do this for me, blah, 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 blah. We are sacrificing. We are loving. And this is the definition of what love is. It's not a Hallmark card. It's not a Valentine's Day gift. This is love right here that we're all doing together. Okay. I will say though, with that, should everybody be understanding of everybody's journey? Absolutely. And especially life for wives, women that are dealing with long sentences, because some of us will never get the opportunity to leave a prison wife group. Like, let's be real. Like, we will never get that. Like, a lot of you that have short
I haven't
sentences,
even thought about that ever.
a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people with short sentences, like, as soon as their people come home, they're out. They're living their life. They forgot about the prison wife community. Let's be real. And us, we're left behind. We're still doing it. We're still going to visit every week. When you're at home with your loved one, when your loved one gets a chance to come home and you get that homecoming video, we are rooting for you. We are happy for you.
It's genuine.
We're crying with you as we watch it. But we still have to wake up the next weekend and go to visit. We still have to keep going year after year after year. And, people that don't understand women who stay with people with long sentences and the problem is where it starts to get, I'll say this. I got bullied in a group. I think I've talked about this on the pod before because I'm with Michael, because he's on death row. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? You need a man, you need a real man, and all this stuff.
What does that even mean?
So just keep in mind, guys, we and us in Love Within Walls, we celebrate lifer wives. We celebrate those with long sentences because this is their moment. This is their homecoming moment that some of them will never get. Like, let's be fucking real. And I'm sorry, that's a hill I'm going to stand on here. So I just think people with the ones that have less than 5 years, when they harp on women that have longer sentences, again, it's a disconnect in our community. It's a crack in the foundation that doesn't support. Like, these support groups are meant to support, and by doing that, you're not supporting. You're ostracizing, and you're bullying.
What's interesting is that I've never, at least to my face, I've never had anyone belittle me for being with Joseph because he had a life without parole sentence. Has that happened behind my back? I'm sure. You know what I mean? You hear that and, people are like, whoa, what the hell? But another, like, within the prison wife community, because I have at least 3 people that I can think of off the top of my head that met their incarcerated husband, not through writing, but through a different purpose, like not knowing that they were in prison. And the bias there of them comparing, how we reached out to our husbands through a pen pal website knowing that they were incarcerated, comparing it to someone who, might have found their significant other another way, and because they had a cell phone or something and were on something, and then comparing it being like, oh, well, I would have never wrote to someone in prison, but this is how I met my husband type thing.
Yeah.
I know multiple people like that, and it's a weird thing to hear come out of someone's mouth because, you want to hope at least that they don't mean anything by it, but it feels weird because it's like, so what are you saying? Because I wrote to someone incarcerated, I can't believe I did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm different because but that you would never do that. But okay, at the end of the day, we are both in committed relationships with people incarcerated, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
And, no matter how you met your person, we should celebrate the fact that you found someone that you love. And listen, that you love someone despite the fact that they're at rock bottom at this point, obviously being incarcerated, whether they have a 2-year sentence, whether they have a 10-year sentence, whether they have a 20-year sentence, or whether you met them on Plenty of Fish, Facebook dating, or whatever, or you found them on prison pen pals or whatever, we're all on this journey together, and we're all doing the same thing, and comparing tit for tat is only going to make more division in a sense. So yeah, I get that, which is like, but and when people say that, I'm like, okay, but you're with somebody incarcerated. You're choosing to date them. You're choosing to be with them.
And you're still here. So it's like that makes us no different. You know what I mean? And like, it's not like it makes anyone better than another person either. I hate that. And I'm like, that's what creates and continues to have the stigma sit because of weird things like that. So I have a few more drama-filled topics that we can go back and forth with.
I'm loving this.
Sharing your prison relationship on social media. Some wives on social media like to share their relationship for, social raise awareness, to advocate, to connect with other people. But we have also seen how that can go bad because people are crazy. People can be insane, and sometimes people can take their interests into a really dark path, which is like creeping into your husband and his family, and like creeping into like all different edges of your world, and like, things you might not give out. They'll be like, well, I want to know that, so I'm going to go research and look into it. And that's a lot more common than you would think. And sharing bits and pieces is a really good way to kind of get those kind of people to hound you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say, the thing that you have to keep in mind when you post your relationship on Facebook or TikTok or anywhere on the internet is that you are opening yourself and your relationship up for judgment, and you kind of have to accept that.
Yeah.
Unwanted attention, that's going to be a given. People, when it comes to prison things, people are always like, what they want to know everything. What was the crime? What happened? What's going on now? Like, you just have to keep that in mind and keep your privacy as well as your loved one's privacy in the back of your mind.
Yeah. And I noticed that a lot of people, especially I was watching some people on TikTok, and they always say, like, when people ask them, because they do lives and stuff, like, what did your husband do? And they say, well, that's my husband's story. I'm not going to tell it. Like, that's a
I always
great,
say,
yeah. Like, that's my husband's story. He has, you have to ask him. He has to tell it, you know? I do want to kind of just add a little personal story to this. I forgot to mention this in the beginning of the pod. I don't know if y'all saw on my personal Facebook and my Instagram, I had that friend that I told he's gay, but he's kind of in the closet and he struggles with it or whatever. We went to a funeral for a friend of ours who passed away, and I ended up coming out to him. And this was the person that all of my friends said, do not tell because he will go berserk, And so I told him, and it wasn't as bad, but he did have a lot of questions. And so I think, when you open yourself up to what happened, obviously, yes, we said it's rude to ask these very intimate questions about your relationship. But I think his intention was he didn't react the way I thought he would react. So I was very overjoyed with that. And I ended up sharing. And I will say, like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just going to say, I think that that's different when it comes to sharing online versus with friends.
Yeah. 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 But he did have questions. I mean, he asked about my sex life. He asked about a lot of things that are, that we would consider. Granted, he's my best friend and I've known him for 26, 27 years at this point. But, and he's almost like family to me. So I don't mind answering those questions with someone like that. But it was, he asked questions like, so you've never had sex with him? Like, like that kind of thing. And I'm like, no, I haven't. Like, people in Louisiana that have no idea about prison think that we get conjugal visits. And I'm like,
I know people.
no.
It must be like a general thing where people think every state has conjugal visits. Because like when I like tell them about, they're like, oh yeah, because they have them here, like in Pennsylvania, and I'm like, no, they do not.
Yeah.
They should.
They should. Every state should. We said that. But I mean, it's funny though. But I mean, I think he was he was maybe a little shocked. Yeah, maybe more to understand because he did not react the way I thought he was going to react. So, I mean, you never know with people, especially you're close to. I mean, you hope that they have good reactions. Not all of them do, but I guess you're focusing more on the internet. But I just wanted to bring that up because someone asked me to tell that story. And since we were talking on this, I wanted to kind of touch on that.
Yeah, definitely. I think my friends sometimes, maybe it's because they're my friends, they ask me things like that, and I think I just like I don't even like I don't know why my brain doesn't go into like defense mode because I think that I know that they're coming from like a good place where they don't
Hmm.
mean any like malice and they're not like what you don't get fucked or like things like that. Like that's what's in my comments on TikTok. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
And I guess you're right. It's different when you have somebody that you care about, that cares about you, sharing that information versus Joe Blow on the internet who's being a
Yeah.
fucking ignorant slob.
Mhm. Mhm. But I'm glad that you opened up to him because I thought it would go well.
Yeah. I was very nervous, but the thing is, I will say this: if you plan on opening yourself up to your friends to tell them about your prison relationship, you have to be confident. I don't know if the
Mhm.
universe, I don't want to, oh God, I felt like I kind of at the end I was like, thank you God for making me strong through this because I felt very confident in myself when I say answers. Like, my mom told me this week, like, I wish you could find somebody to do things with because I know that, you like hiking and you like going out. And I just want you to have somebody because I'm not going to be here forever. And my mom and I are very, very close. And I'm just like, I understand that. Me too. Believe me, I want that. But I'm happy, mom. And I say it with confidence. Like,
Mhm.
he makes me happy. I'd rather be with him doing this stupid shit than be with somebody and be miserable and go on hikes
Yep.
and not be happy in a relationship.
Yep.
So,
It's like no one is that person no matter what. And
yeah.
that's my person.
Yeah. So I would just say opening up, confidence is key, always key. Because if they see you cracking, that's when they know that maybe this is toxic. This is not the
Mhm.
right relationship for you.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm sorry. I took us on a whole different tangent.
I
Sorry,
know that's
Paige.
okay. The next one I have is how much financial support should you provide? I think we've had this conversation a few different times. There are some wives who um, cover what they can for their husband because their husband has no family, and that's the only way that they are going to get any kind of additional money because they don't even get paid for working, or they can't get a job, or they get cents on the hour.
Yeah.
And then there are other women who very much are against sending their loved ones money. And, I think this comes down to situation based. Like, you know what I mean? Everyone has different situations, financial situations, everyone has different money situations. And I don't think it's really any of our jobs to judge other people. Now, does that mean that you let your empathetic friend who is a fun loving person give all of her money to her incarcerated boyfriend? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You let them know when those situations are happening. But I'm talking about these women that are like married and committed relationships. Like, it's really like none of your business what they do or share or anything because they're in a marriage, just like you wouldn't bother anyone else out here in the real world and be like, hey, what do you guys do with your finances? Like, you know what I mean? No one does that. So just stop.
Yeah. And I mean, put yourself in their fucking shoes when you say that. Like, if you were incarcerated and you couldn't work, couldn't get a job and your job pays 4 cents on the hour, wouldn't you want someone that loves you to help you out? I mean, wouldn't you want to be able to buy the awesome food or be able to get new shoes if you need it? Like, let's fucking be real. Like, you would want a handout. Come on. If that was you incarcerated, and listen, I mean, if you're married, a partnership is a partnership. When you're 80 and they're 20, you're covering that extra. And so I think there's a difference between being abused financially. I see women scrambling to get their money, their men like hundreds of dollars a week, and they're freaking out and they're panicking. And I'm like, no, sister, because you know what? You got to take care of you first. Like, stop worrying about him. He's got, like we said last week, he's got 3 meals coming to him. He's got clothes. He's got a place to sleep. Like, he's good. Like, you need to take care of yourself first. But a marriage is a marriage, and if women want, or a relationship's a relationship. If I was struggling, I would hope my boyfriend would help me out. I would hope my husband would help me out. Like, let's fucking be real.
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm fired up today.
No, I agree. I just don't think it's for anyone. It's not like an outside thing. And the only time I really think that it's like a thing for people on the outside is when it gets to dangerous territory or someone is getting financially abused.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Can I throw one in too? From this was a viewer request. They asked us to do the stereotypes that are different for a prison wife versus a prison husband.
Okay. What do you
And
think?
I'm gonna say this. In that book that we read for book club, there was the prison husband never got any flack for having a wife incarcerated. Whereas women are just seem to be in our society, they seem to be targets for some reason. Whereas the women who supported their husbands in the book did get a lot of societal flack for being with a man versus a man being with a woman incarcerated. What have you seen? I mean, because we celebrate prison husbands. I love a good prison
Oh
husband,
yeah.
because they're few and far between. I understand that, and there's a lot more prison wives versus prison husbands. But it's just interesting to see how society views a prison husband versus a prison wife.
Yeah. A lot that I see on like social media, like TikTok and stuff, they don't get as much hate. Now, does that mean that they don't get hate? Of course not. Of course they get hate, and men are rude. But I think, unfortunately, a lot of the times, at least in my experience, a lot of the haters, besides like incel men, are women, and I feel like for some reason women don't attack the prison husbands as much. Maybe they like see that and they're like, wow, like that's really being down for someone. And it's like, but us, they're like, no, they're desperate.
We have low self esteem. We
Yeah.
can't get anybody else. We're ugly.
Yeah, no
We don't
shit,
love
they're doing
ourselves.
that. But for a man, they're
Yeah.
like, wow, look at him holding her down. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Good
and
for
I don't want to,
him.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to speak and say that they don't get hate because I have probably like two or three prison husbands that I know, and I know that they're like the sweetest people ever. So like, I don't know who would go out of their way to hate them, but I'm sure they get it too. But I don't know if it would be as much as we openly do because we just get looked at as we're idiots and we're
Yeah.
naive.
Yeah. And it's funny because the guy in the book that we read, The Love in the Time of Incarceration, never got questioned.
Mm-mm.
Never got questioned. Why are you with her?
Mm-hmm.
It was more, okay, that's cool.
And
Whatever,
and it was so interesting because in his story on his side of the book, it was really, I feel like in my opinion it was kind of obvious that he was really attracted to this woman who was incarcerated because of the attention he was getting. And I thought that that was really obvious the whole time. And then as the book went on and she wasn't able to give him as much attention because like they were trying to focus on like her case to help her get out, he like didn't like that. And he like was pulling back and like he didn't really I mean, I'm sure to this day like it's in a written book. He probably really doesn't get a lot of slack for that or anything. Like it's just something, it was just an event in his life.
Yeah.
Like and that's what it is, and that's crazy because it's sad. I think that would be less likely to happen for a woman. You know what I mean? Because
Oh, yeah.
we're not necessarily looking for. Are there people looking for attention? I'm sure, but I don't think that that's what a majority of us are looking for.
Yeah. We're looking for, I mean, a lot of us are just looking to have that deep emotional connection because that's what we're
That's
based.
what we
I mean,
want.
women, yeah, women are emotionally, we love emotionally. We don't love physically. Men love a lot of, like they do the more physical parts. They love the physicality of love
And
versus women who are more emotional
in this
oriented.
book that we read, guys, it's even more interesting because this woman was incarcerated in New York. So they had their family. Didn't they
Yeah,
have?
their trailer visits. They called them
They
trailer
had
visits.
their trailer family visits, and like so it's not like he wasn't getting laid. So it's like he was getting that, and that still was. He was like, "There's still something missing." Like what? Like
When she's turned her attention to her own case
yeah,
versus
he
him,
doesn't like it as much.
he did not like it. Yeah.
Hmm.
But I just thought it was interesting that to talk about the husband stereotypes because there really aren't any
Yeah,
if you think about it.
they might get looked at as desperate because that might just be like a blanket cover that I think we all kind of get no matter what, or it's all we can get type thing. But other than that, I don't think there's anything special like they create for us.
We get all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
that makes us spicy. All right, I'm
Sending
sorry. You have more. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that one in.
sending provocative photos to your incarcerated husband, which is something that we've talked about a few times. Many wives feel like to maintain that romantic sexual connection, and they want to,
Hmm.
send promiscuous photos to their husband and kind of help ease the distance and the lack of intimacy that you can have. But there's also a handful of women who feel very uncomfortable with that because, all of the privacy issues that come along with that. Like, COs can see it, JPay people could see it. Like, essentially, it's on the internet and it's there forever for a lot of these people. And I think that sometimes, dealing with that it's a really hard thing to settle like your stomach over and get over, because it took me a while to get over
Yeah.
it. Like at first, like when Joe like would be like, "Hey, do you want to send me like a picture like this?" I'd be like, not really, because like I don't want like I don't want other people to see it. And then I think it just got to a point where I was like, I really want to send these, and I don't really care who, like, you know what I mean? If you want to
Yeah.
stop and take a second look, then do it, bitch. Fuck you.
Yeah. And I will say this: there's a I don't I want to make sure I word this right. There's a sense of power or confidence in a woman putting herself out there like that. And even though probably so and so is going to see it, somebody's going to check it, blah 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 blah, and you're nervous about that, there's still that sense of like when you wanna actually send something and you get yourself dressed up and you put yourself in these cute poses or cute outfits or whatever. I mean, that's a sense of power for a female because it gives you a found confidence. Now, if you're like, I don't know, if you're being pressured into it, that's a whole different thing. But doing it on your own volition and, you know, doing it because you feel it makes it might make you feel really good about yourself, it may make you feel beautiful, it may make you feel sexy, you feel a level of intimacy with your it helps you feel a level of intimacy with your person. I think there's something wonderful about that in a sense and
Mm-hmm.
powerful in a sense.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But yeah, I mean, Michael never asked for stuff, but when I was nervous at first because, I've never done anything like this before. But when I started doing them, I was like, ooh, okay,
Make a little
okay,
sport out of
Gigi,
it.
okay.
It's fun. It can be
Yeah.
fun. Just make it a fun thing. And you
And let
know
me
that
tell
they love
you,
you. So,
they love it. They
hmm
fucking love it.
hmm
Because, I mean, think about people that don't get family visits, states that don't have that. I mean, this is, for the most part, all you get,
hmm
So,
The last one I have is talking about your incarcerated husband in public, which we do talk about sometimes. Obviously, there are some wives who are super comfortable, don't really give a shit. They'll tell anyone, hey,
hmm
my husband's incarcerated for this amount of time. This is what he did. And honestly, good for fucking them. It takes a lot to be that kind of person and, onward. But there are a lot of people that I think would rather just avoid the stigma and avoid the judgment and avoid the views and the thoughts. And you really can't blame some people for being like that, especially, if you have a job where it would affect your job, or if you have some kind of family issues where it's just like they just can't know. Like, it's kind of just, in my opinion, about protecting your own peace and knowing when to like give line and when to like pull back in, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, and everybody's got a different situation, and we have to be understanding of that. And some people get upset when women are in the closet or they're like ashamed.
Oh,
Well,
goodness.
I'm just saying there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason we're in the closet. I'm slowly tiptoeing out, but because I can't stay in the closet for the rest of my life, let's be real. But stop getting your panties in a twist because some women are not out there like you are,
Mm-hmm.
because they're being secretive, something's not right with them. Like, no, like, some women don't put their loved ones in prison wife groups. Some people don't share pictures for a reason,
And that's fine.
and that's their choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's their decision.
Yeah.
So making people feel bad about it, is wrong. And yeah, there is shame. I believe it. I live in it. I live in shame all day, every day. My family does not like the fact that I'm with Michael. My family doesn't know that I'm with Michael. Majority of my family does not know. And I choose to keep it that way. You know, I feel like they'll never understand. They'll never get it. So why? He's not coming home. So why crack that open? Now, I will say it does feel freeing when I came out to my friend. It did feel a sense, I felt a sense of freedom with that. But, you know, that's somebody I care about. That's somebody I know. But there are people that know that we don't talk about it. And that there are people that I want to know. And, you know, we talk about it. And some of my friends are like, this is a big part of your life, you know? So it's important you speak your truth, you know, whatever, when you feel like it. And there's points where I do feel like it, and then there's points where I don't feel like it. In the prison wife community, I'm an open book. In real life, I'm not an open book. So, you know, and that's, yeah, you too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like, I mean, anyone who's like a very good friend of mine does know, but like, I mean, a majority of my life is spent at work, and like at work, I only a few people know, but like, you know, this podcast was a big jump for me because, you know, knowing that it's a public facing thing where anyone
Yeah.
can see it, and like, you know, I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. I know who I am as like a person and as a worker, and I'm not really, you know, I hope that that would never affect my job or anything, but you really never know in today's world. And it's just like little things like that are like fears that like I feel like are embedded in the back of our brains that make it hard to want to come out and speak about it more. And I really think that, again, it goes back to everyone's situation is different, and it's really no one else's business as to why this prison wife isn't as open on the internet or in public or in real life than this one.
Yeah.
You know, you don't even have to be in a prison wife group. Like, you know what I mean? I can't even tell you how many women follow me on Instagram that are prison wives or prison girlfriends, and you would have no fucking clue because there's nothing on their Instagram or anything like that. And you know what I mean? And I used to be one of those people, so I understand. Yeah. And like, it's just, it's not for, everyone thinks that in today's day and age with social media that everything is everyone's business, and it's just not. And I think that's what this all comes down to. This whole like segment is, at the end of the day, it's no one's business, and your relationship is yours. And although you might put some of it out there, at the end of the day, you are not required to give any more than you feel comfortable with.
Amen. Amen. And I will say this, like, you don't realize that there are people with jobs, like, for example, government jobs, who can't share this information, because if they did share that information, they would lose their job. I mean, these are big things, and it's sad. I hate that it's like that. Of course, I hate that it's like that, but that's the way their life is, and so we kind of have to respect that and respect their privacy in that regard. So,
For sure.
faux show. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed talking about that, Paige.
Me too.
I enjoyed going through all of those wonderful topics with you.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to keep doing more. And if anyone has any suggestions, or keep letting us know, because we'll keep throwing them in there.
Yeah. You know, I think talking about it and opening up dialogue is super important because, you know, these things come up every day in prison wife groups that you see online or on TikTok or prison talk, whatever you want to call it, prison wife talk or whatever. But, you know, I think having having those hard hitting conversations and saying like, look, everybody, we should, I feel like we're doing High School Musical. We're all in this together, you know, it's like that. That's how it should be, you know, and sometimes we have to have those hard conversations. All right. Are you ready for, I think we're getting a call, Paige.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
Hello. This is a prepaid collect call from
Fred.
an inmate at Florida Correctional Institution.
All right. It is Florida Fred time. That means we're going through your questions and answers. We only had one question and one speaky pipe. So, you ready to go, Paige?
I'm ready.
All right. Our first question comes from our lovely, our amazing Addie at Chapters and Chains. And I love this question. I even asked Mike this question last night. What's one thing you never expected to become an expert in, but prison wife life made you one?
Life without parole and extreme sentencing in the United States.
Okay. Paige
I
is,
know a lot more than I did.
yeah.
A lot more.
So Paige knows a lot about life without parole and death penalty and extreme harsh sentencing. Anything else?
What was one more time?
Well, what's something that you've become an expert in because of being in the prison wife life that's made you an expert?
I've got a lot better at advocating
Okay.
for my husband and even for myself because I'm really bad at advocating for myself. And I've gotten better at doing it for others. And, maybe just back to that, finding your voice.
Okay. Let's see. For me, I would say dealing with overcoming disappointment. I've become an expert in that. And it was a very long trial process as far as that. I used to be really, really down, really depressed. And now I kind of just say, "Meh, okay, that's the way it goes." I've also learned to give up control in a lot of things because this life, there's a lot of disappointment with the fact that you have 98% you have no control over your relationship. That took a long time. It didn't happen overnight. I've also become an expert in patience.
Not me.
Um,
I can't
because
overcome it.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm a teacher, so I have to have a lot, which I do, but obviously I used to not have a lot with prison and the criminal justice system. And now I just kind of say, okay, whatever, when it happens, it happens. I'm not going to beat my brains over it. I'm not going to make myself crazy because it's not happening right this second. So I think those are the things I've become experts in. I've been just handling really shitty situations. I feel like I'm a pro at that now because I'm living it every day. And not that I'm in a shitty situation with Michael, but having to deal with prison, with the system, is a shitty situation, unfortunately. So
What's interesting is I literally this morning had a conversation with another prison wife. I won't put her name out there because I don't know if she wants me to or not. But she was venting to me about prison life and being with someone who's incarcerated. He's in a state that doesn't have tablets, so they don't have like constant conversations or anything. And so the days when you don't get phone calls are a lot harder. And although California has tablets now, I completely remember what that was like because we didn't not too long ago. And back when Joseph and I first started talking and dating, and there would be times when I would go 3 days without a phone call, and that was just the norm. And I would just sit here and be like, oh my God, I hope he's okay. I hope everything's okay. Freaking out. And eventually I was able to get to the point where I am not giving that my energy. And it was kind of nice. I was able to talk to this prison wife today and be like, I know that this is probably not what you want to hear from me right now when you're stressed out, but the more you become accepting of situations like this that are out of your control and are, draining your energy, the easier it'll get. Because when it comes to prison, those men don't have control over these things. And, you not giving it your energy is you taking control of the situation.
amen. And amen again. Because, like I said, 98% of this is out of your control. And,
And no one wants to accept that, especially when it's our husbands that we're
yeah.
talking about. I'm like, you're like, no, that's my fucking husband.
It's
I need him. And it's okay, but sometimes it's out of our control. And screaming at that over and over again, saying, well, that's my husband, isn't going to do anything except probably make you feel insane.
just make you feel more shitty and more pissed off and more angsty and more anxious. So you kind of have to learn to let that shit go because holding on to it is just going to poison yourself in a sense. So I know it's easier said than done. And believe me, I was not here 8 years ago. I was that girl that cried. And this was before we had tablets too. I mean, Mike could call me once a day and that was it.
Yeah.
And I had to wait all day,
15 minutes.
And now I'll look, I'm look back and I'm like, how did I do that?
I know. I
How
look
did I
at
do that?
we had time we had letters, multiple letters going back and forth to each other, and there was a time, especially like during COVID, where I would get a call every 3 days and it would be 15 minutes, and as soon as it was done, and I wouldn't hear from him maybe for another 2 or 3 days, and like I like think about that now. I'm like so like, "Oh my God, I don't know how I would do it," but in some fucked up world, if we did ever go back to that, I know that I could because we did it before.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you were with your loved one through COVID, can I just say this? If you were with your loved one through COVID when you had no visitation, very limited communication, things were shut down, or your loved one was on lockdown or whatever, you can do anything. You know? I was talking to Michael about it because we had a whole month where we like between visits, it was a whole month. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so hard. And he's like, booby, you did like a whole year of COVID with no visits. Like, let's be real. Like, you can do this, you know? So I was like, damn, how did I do that? You know? So yeah, I think accepting is a big thing that we become better in as we get through this life, you know? Because now if Mike doesn't call me, yeah, am I concerned? Sure. Do I get a little anxious? Yeah, because you think your mind goes to the worst of the worst things that could happen. They're in the hospital, they got into a fight, they got busted with something or whatever. Like they could be in trouble or whatever. But for the most part, it's usually something ridiculous like the Wi-Fi's down and he can't call, or the phones are down, or power's out, or it's something like that. So, and I know when he can get at me, he'll get at me, as soon as he can. All right, we have a speaky pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and roll over to the speaky pipe here. All right, here we go. It's loading. Okay.
Hi, ladies. I just want to ask you your thoughts on something. I'm not going to say the state because I don't know how serious this is, but I have found myself in a unique situation where I have the cell phone numbers of DOC employees, like personal cell phone numbers, and they have called me. I have called them, and I just was wondering, it all hit me at once. Is this illegal? Is this allowed? Is this against the rules? I don't really know, exactly what the rules are in terms of this, but I would like to hear your thoughts. The reason why we're in communication is about certain jobs, and trying to keep it vague, like certain jobs and what those jobs can provide. So if you could just let me know your thoughts, and if you know if this is against the rules or if it's not, that would be helpful. Thank you.
All right, Paige, I'm going to throw it over to you first.
I have so many questions. I think is my first initial one is, when you say jobs, do you mean for you or for your incarcerated loved one?
I think it's more for the incarcerated loved one.
Okay, then I feel like, I mean, illegal is probably not the right word, but morally wrong is probably,
Like frowned upon.
yeah. And like, I mean, I would question, like, how did you get their phone numbers, or how did they get your phone numbers? How frequently are they calling you? What are they saying? Are they texting you? I can tell you, just hearing you say it, it does sound really off and weird. Like, I don't know why anyone from the CDCR would be calling me from their cell phone. I've only ever gotten calls from the prison. I can't imagine them wanting me to have their cell phone number. So I think that it's kind of a blurry space, and I would be curious to know if like the conversations are like appropriate or what.
Okay. I have a yes and no answer. Is this legal? Yes and no. I wouldn't say it's illegal. Nobody can control who you give your number out to. Obviously, that's not a legal problem. I think, can people in DOC lose their job because they've
Oh, yeah.
been fraternizing with family members of loved ones? Possibly. I think that has happened before for sure. I think it's very frowned upon. But I mean, down here, it's a whole different breed. There's a thing, Southern hospitality, and people, are friends. Maybe they've been friends in, outside of prison walls. I know people that know, for example, can I give you an example? The warden at the Louisiana Prison for Women, LCIW, she went to high school with me. I graduated high school with her. Okay. Are we best friends? No. But if she gave me her number and we started having a conversation, it wouldn't be weird to me.
Does she know about Michael?
No.
No, then.
What I'm saying is if it's I know people that give their number out because they want to get information and get information on the prison itself or whatever. I know people that have wardens' phone numbers. I know people that have high-ranking officer phone numbers that are in contact. Here, it's more common than you think, maybe. But is it frowned upon? I'm sure it's very frowned upon by Louisiana DOC because, could they get in trouble for it? Absolutely. So I don't know. I will say Louisiana DOC is very different from a lot of systems, state systems, BOP systems, other states. So does it happen here? Yes. Gosh, I wouldn't say it's illegal though. But if you're doing things and talking about things that could be illegal, then it could be. I just, it's like that's a tough one to answer, to be honest. Because I know people that, not that they're friends, but they talk like, hey, can I come visit this weekend, or what's going on at the prison, or what happened yesterday at the prison, that kind of like getting tea. But I don't know. Maybe I should shut up. It's just different down here. I will say that. In our state, it's very different. But, after years, but people keep in mind, there's a lot of lifers, especially at Angola. There's a lot of lifers. 85% of the population are lifers. So, you get to know the staff. Like, you really get to know the staff because they know you. Like, they know me by my first name. When I'm leaving, they're like, oh, I wish, one of the people said, oh, I wish I could give you a blanket and a pillow because you would stay here overnight, wouldn't you? And I'm like, hell yeah, I would, like, you're always the last to leave. You just need a pillow and a blanket. Like, that's what they say to me when I leave. Like, they call me by my name. So it's like they know me by my first name, So
Never expect treatment like that in California.
Okay.
CDCR.
Yeah. So I just feel like Angola, Louisiana, DOC, I don't know about other facilities 'cause I've never visited other facilities, but yeah, it's different. So to answer that question, I would say you don't want to go out and say, I'm talking to so-and-so on the phone, or so-and-so is calling me on the phone. I think that should be kept on the DL, because you don't want to risk losing their job because they are fraternizing. I would think that that's very frowned upon. But does it happen? Probably more commonplace than you think. So All right. Hopefully that helps. All right. So do we have any shout outs, Paige? That was the only speaky pipe we had.
I want to give a shout out to someone I've already given a shout out to, but specifically again because she's retiring from advocating for right now because she has a bunch of health issues to focus on. But I want to give my shout out to Allison Villegas once again because she is amazing. She's on all of the social medias now because she's even over on TikTok, she was telling me. But she's probably not going to be active on them. She is just a woman whose son was incarcerated, is no longer incarcerated. He's free finally. And she is going through some serious health issues of her own that she kind of needs to focus on. So she's stepping back from advocating. This is the woman who motivated me to start advocating 3-4 years ago. And just her simply like tweeting into the void, like seeing her do that gave me so much like energy and motivation to be like, I want to fucking do that even if no one's going to listen to me. And I've seen her do so many amazing things and bring so many shitty situations to light and help so many people, connect so many people. This is just like an angel on earth. I love her so much, and I just wanted to give a shout out to her. And I love you, Allison.
Oh, we love you so much. She's such an inspirational person. So, and she's so sweet and good to us. So we love you, Miss Allison. We do.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on.
Shout out.
That's for you. I'm going to give a shout out to two people. I'm going to first give a shout out to Paige for reaching out to my second shout out, which is Mr. DJ Vidicka. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. I just like saying Vidicka. It sounds fun. Who is the author of The Green Wall, a book about the corrupt practices within the COs in Salinas Valley State Prison. She reached out to him, and he's going to be doing a live Q&A for Love Within Walls book club group. Very excited about that. And so I want to give a shout out to him for being a whistleblower in a system where there was a code of silence. It's very interesting to read his perspective on that. And then also to Paige for setting that up because that was awesome. I know our admin team, we're so excited about this. So shout out to the both of y'all.
I'm excited to hear and maybe even get some insight. And I know we have some ladies who have some good questions. So I'm excited.
All right. So shout out to y'all.
Shout out.
All right. All right, Paige, it is time to close this pod out with our meme of the week. What you got?
Let me get it. We got a cute baby Yoda in this week's meme, which can never go wrong with that. The caption is, looking back at your man one last time before you leave the visit room. And I know all of y'all have done that.
Oh my God, I cry so hard.
So Joseph, when I left visit, I used to not look because it would make me cry more. And Joseph got upset with it because he's like, I always look and I always look to see if you look back and you don't. And I wouldn't because then I would just cry more. So I purposely like go, and I don't turn around. So then it turned into a thing where he was like, can you just turn around? And I'm like, fine. And every time I turn around now, he's always smiling, waving at me. And I'm like, I'm going to lose it.
That last look, gosh.
I know your brain is like, oh my God, this is it. Like it's so like final.
Yeah. Even though you know you're coming back, right? But I mean, shit. It's just hard.
People don't deal with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's weird.
And I know that I'd never want to. I the last 30 minutes of my visit from 3:30 to 4. I am crying. I'm holding on to Michael. I don't want to let him go. It's just, I hate leaving him. So that look says everything. And I do like to look back, but it is hard.
It's really hard. So we had a thing now. So I always look back now, but I used to not.
Yeah. I love that you do that now. Mm-hmm. Even though it's hard, like, it's fucking hard, but you do it.
And every time he has this big shitty grin because he knows that I don't want to be turning around, but I am.
He's gotcha. He's gotcha. All right, so that is the end of our pod, but we have some upcoming things. For obviously, we have our on October 24th tomorrow. We have our DJ Vidika. Is that? Am I saying his name right, Paige?
Yeah.
Okay. We have our Q&A session with DJ Vidika, the author of The Green Wall. Friday, we have our costume G&I costume party. Very excited about that. Saturday, are you still doing your astrological meeting?
I thought. I don't think we made a date for that.
Oh, I thought you said the 26th.
I think we were going to, and then we didn't.
Okay. Did you want to do it? Or you
I
want to
probably
wait?
I need time.
Okay. Well, just know that we will be having an astrological, another second round with Paige coming up. I know people were already talking about it and they were excited to do it because they missed the first one. So they're really excited about the second one. But just know that that's in the works. That's coming. And then, I think that's all we have. Oh, we're announcing today that on November 10th at 9 p.m. we are having a sound bath meditation by someone that's a prison wife, and she's done this before, and it's amazing. It's like a guided meditation with the drum thing, the bowls and stuff. She's going to do that for us as a self-care Sunday to get us ready for the week on November 9th, especially after the election. I think we're all going to need it. So,
Especially if you live in fucking Pennsylvania, because let me tell you,
is it bad?
if you guys think your political ads are bad, come over here. Because they are hammering us home. I get fucking like 5 things in the mail a day of the same things, and every other commercial on the radio, on the TV, on YouTube is them.
Yeah, because y'all are a swing state, right?
And it's like every commercial is like, Pennsylvania is deciding the election this year. I'm like, you guys are so annoying. Please.
So you're going to definitely need a sound bath.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be tuning in.
Paige and all the prison wives in Pennsylvania need to come on over to Love with Them Walls. Mm-hmm. And as always, guys, please like, share, subscribe, and rate our podcast. You can rate on Apple and Spotify. And this helps us get feedback. We also have the opportunity on Spotify to leave feedback. You can do that as you listen to each episode. We encourage you guys to do that as well. So, Paige, do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, guys, we love you. Thank you for riding with us. Y'all are our ride or dies, our Morgan Wallers. We love you. And thank you for bringing us to episode 31. And we look forward to seeing you guys. Wait, next week. Can we tell them about next week's pod? We're going to be dressed up.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be in our costumes for Halloween. I'm very, very excited.
Me too.
So be ready for that, guys. Are you telling, I'm not telling them what I'm going to be.
I'll leave it a secret too.
Yeah, you're going to have to come back and find out. Fuck around and find out, guys. All right. We love you. We hope you have a great week. And hit us up if you need anything. We love you.
Love you guys.
Besitos. All right. Bye, guys. Oh, I'm also dressing Gustavo up for the pod next week. Just saying.
That. We're so lucky.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you, friends.
Bye.